Here you can see the turn order. I'm just going to look at what you need to know in order to play, I guess, a basic learning game. So the first thing you'll do in a lot of games is the weather determination segment. That's not done in Reluctant Enemies because it was just nice weather all the time apparently. In Burma you roll and it might be raining, and if it's raining the ground might get muddy and that might affect movement. So you roll for weather each turn. The two players just roll off. Whoever rolls highest gets to go pick whether they go first. Simple enough. Right, then you move on to your player turn. You can spend supply to flip your aircraft that have been used in the previous turn so that they can be used this turn. Simple enough. You place your reinforcements. Alright, so here I've just stuck all my reinforcements in stacks on the turn that they come in. These aren't actual turn numbers, these are days of the month. So as you can see we go from 1 through to 30. In this situation, turn 1 is here, and then we go round the clock, as it were. So reinforcements, nice simple. You stick them on the starting hexes. So after reinforcements you've got mode, determination and movement. This is basically your movement phase. You're going to move your dudes around. You see you've got the breakout segment there, mode and movement, and the barrage segment. Breakout is just the units that are out of supply. You can try to move them back into supply essentially. Mode and movement is your main movement, and you're going to change the modes of various units if you wish to. You can move them from combat mode to move mode to strategic mode, which will either increase or decrease their movement, and then you move them. And barrage segment, you basically just your aircraft and your ships can do some extra barraging in this phase if they want to. Supply phase, you're going to check what's called the trace supply of each of your units and make sure each of them is in supply. Reaction phase, any enemy units that have been put in reserve, your opponent can take the reserve marker off and he can move and barrage with them. Then you have your combat phase, where you can shell them with your artillery and then engage in combat. Then you have exploitation. Exploitation is during combat. Actually, I'll show. This is probably yes if I show it. When your units engage in combat, you have your combat results table. They can get results with an E on them. See, that's an E there. And that means they get what's called an exploitation marker, which looks like that. And it means basically they get rewarded. They can go again. So they will, if they do well in the combat phase, in the exploitation phase, they can move and maybe combat or barrage again. Also, units that you put in the reserve, you can release them in the exploitation phase if you wish to. And in the cleanup, you're going to take off any extra markers, which will mostly be any of your disorganization markers will come off. So that's the turn. I would say most of the time, if you're just trying to learn this, you will not have that many reaction phases, and you will not have that many exploitation phases. So what you end up with is some bookkeeping, move, combat, and supply, which is pretty standard for war games, really.